So logical equivalent means if you have given a two compound statements, suppose P and Q, two compound statements are given, then the two statements are called logically equivalent if we take the biconditional statement of that two compound statement, means P if and only if Q, that biconditional statement is tautology, then P is called equivalent to Q. Okay, yes, we have the P, P if and only if Q is a tautology, then P is called equivalent to Q. We use this to prove the theorem. The first we have De Morgan's law. Okay, in examination, mostly for De Morgan's law, the question will specify because in this chapter we have two De Morgan's law. One is this De Morgan's law for two statements P and Q, and the second one is a De Morgan's law for a quantifier. Okay, so if given that state and prove the De Morgan's law for two statements P and Q, then statements are the negation of P or Q, it is equivalent to negation of P and negation of Q. The negation of P and Q, it is equivalent to negation of P or negation of Q. Okay. Now to prove this theorem, we use the truth table. Okay. We make the truth table for this one. Here we have P, Q, P or Q, the negation of P or Q, then negation P, negation Q, negation P and Q. This one is we denote by A, this one we denote by B, and then we check A if and only if B. Now in A if and only if B, the all T, then we say that A is equivalent to B. So we using this truth table, we prove that these two are equivalent. Okay, this is already done. Here we prove the second statement. Okay, same manner using the truth table. Then we have associative law. The associative law is we have P, Q, R, three statements, then P or Q or R, it is equivalent to P or Q or R. P and Q and R, it is equivalent to P and Q or Q. To prove this theorem, again we use the truth table. Okay, we make the truth table. Here we have P, Q, R, then Q or R, then P or Q or R. This is we denote by A. Then we have P or Q, then P or Q or R. This is we denote by B. And if we take A if and only if B, then all we get P. Okay, it is a tautology. So A is equivalent to B. Same way, we prove the second using truth table. Okay. Then we have absorption law. In absorption law, we have the two statements P and Q. Then P and P or Q, it is equivalent to P. P or P and Q, it is also equivalent to P. Here again, we use the truth table to prove this one. Okay, so this way we can prove this law. Then we have this exercise, this we already done. Okay, that we prove the first one is a tautology, second is tautology. In third, the first is this one is not equivalent. A and B are not equivalent. Here, B in a B, A and B are equivalent, and in a third, again we have checked that the they are not equivalent. Okay, so this exercise we already done. Then we have the validity of argument. So what is the validity of argument? If you have given any argument, the argument is always given in this form. Arguments are always written in this form, that A1, A2 up to AN minus 1. These are called arguments, and at the final we write therefore conclusion. So here therefore AN, the AN is called conclusion. So these are the arguments and this is conclusion. Now to check it is a valid or not, we take n statement between A1, A2 up to AN minus 1. Okay, we take n statements between this n minus 1 argument, and we take implies conclusion. Okay, so n statement between arguments implies conclusion. If this statement, this compound statement is a tautology, then argument is called valid. If it is not tautology, then argument is not valid. Okay. Now, then we have checked some non-arguments. The first one is a method of affirming. Affirming. The method of affirming. Here we have the argument is P implies Q, P and therefore Q. So here therefore Q means Q is a conclusion, P implies Q and P. These two are arguments. So our statement is a P implies Q and P whole implies Q. Okay. So we check this one is a tautology or not. If it is a tautology, then the given argument is valid. So in a truth table, here we have P, Q, then we have P implies Q, then P implies Q and P. Okay, this is an end statement of argument, and that implies we take Q. That is a implies conclusion. So here, if we make this truth table, we know the values of P. P is a T, T, F, F. Q is a T, F, T, F. Then P implies Q. So T, F, T, T. In an end statement, we have to take these two statements. So when both are true, the end statement is true. Otherwise, it is false. So here, in a first both are true. Remaining three options, at least one is a false. So here, first we have true, and remaining three are false. Now, in an implied statement, we have to check this one is a first statement and this is a second statement. So in an implied statement, when the first statement is true and second statement is false, we have implied statement is false, otherwise it is true. So in our first row, this first statement is true, the second statement is also true, so we have true. Here, in this three row, the first statement is false, so no need to check the second statement. When first statement is false in a conditional statement, then the conditional statement is always true. Okay, so here we have these three are true. So therefore, we got all four true. So this given argument is a valid argument. Okay. Then the second argument is method of deigning. So it is a P implies Q, negation of Q, therefore negation of P. So P implies Q and negation of Q, these two are arguments, and therefore the negation of P is a conclusion. So we have the statement is P implies Q and negation of Q, that implies negation of P. We check this statement by truth table. Here we have P, Q, negation of P, negation of Q. Then we have P implies Q. Then P implies Q and Q, negation of Q. This one we denote by A, and B is a negation of P. Okay. So here A implies B. Now, now here we have similar way. We check the all values. Then here at A implies B, we got all P. So it is a tautology. Therefore, given argument is valid argument. Okay. This is a dilemma. Here we have three arguments and then conclusion. P or Q, P implies R, Q implies R, these three arguments, and therefore R, so it is a conclusion. So here we make, here to check the validity of this argument, we make this statement P or Q and P implies R and Q implies R. In whole implies R. Okay. For this statement, we take the truth table and we check it is a tautology or not. So here in a truth table, we write the P, Q, R, P or Q, P implies R, Q implies R. Okay, this one we denote by X, this is Y, and this is Z. So X and Y and Z, here both operator are AND operators. We can take the directly here and that if we have these three are true, then here we have true. If any one is a false, then here we have false. So in a first we have three are true, so here true. Here Y and Z false, so here false. Here again three true, so true. Here Y is false, so here false. Here again three true, so true. Here Z is false. Here X is false. Again X is false. So these three are false. Okay. Then implies B. B is a R. So here where we have the false value in a first statement, we write the true value in a conditional statement. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At this 5 place, we write T. Now we have to check the only 3 places. So the first, this one. So here we have T. Here in R also we have T. So here we have T. Here we have T. In R also we have T. So here T. Same way here. Here we have T. And in R also here we have T. So here T. So that means all are true value. So it is a tautology. So this is a valid argument. Okay. Now similar way we can check. The fourth one is a hypothetical syllogism. To check this is a valid, we again use the truth table. Okay. We make the truth table. Here we have columns are P, Q, R. P implies Q, Q implies R, then P implies R. So this is a two arguments. Okay. This two we denote by X and Y. So we have X end was here. Then this is a B. Okay, conclusion. So the final statement is A implies B. This is we denote by A. Okay. So here A implies B is all we have T. So this is a valid argument. Okay. This one is also we have rule. Then this example we have taken. Okay. Here we have P implies Q. Then Q. Therefore P. So if we check the truth table of this argument, then this is a truth table. So here where this one value we got X. Okay. Here we have the one bracket is missing here. We have here we have this is in one bracket. Okay, this is A. This one we have A implies P. Now here we have T. So here T we get T. This is false. So we have here no need to check T. We can write directly T here. Then this is a true. And here we have false. So first statement is true. Second statement is false. So we get here false. Okay. It is not tautology. So therefore, the given argument is invalid argument. Okay. The given argument is invalid argument. Then we have this one more example. This is also we have done. The same way we have to make the just truth table to check it is a valid or not. Okay. So we make the truth table here this way. Here we have P, Q, R. P implies negation of P, negation Q, negation of R. Then this is we take A, negation of P or Q. Then R implies negation of Q, we denote by B. Then P implies negation of R, we denote by Y. So this is A and B. This is denoted by X. So the last we have X implies Y. Okay. So these are the columns of the truth table. This you have to do it this yourself. Check it is a valid or not. Okay. Then the next topic is predicates. In predicates means the declarative sentence. Predicates means declarative sentence where the true or false value of that sentence it is depending on a given variable in the sentence. Okay, like we have given a sentence that x plus 5 equal to 0, and here also given that x belongs to Z. Okay. We have given that x plus 5 equal to 0, where x belongs to Z. So here x belongs to Z, that means that is called domain, and this statement x plus 5 equal to 0, this statement we denote by p of x. Because of here one variable, we denote by p of x. Now the truth value of this statement, it is depending on a x. If x is a minus 5, it is true. Except the minus 5, it is false. Okay, so the truth value is it is depending on a x. So that this statement is called this statement is called predicates. Okay, so predicates means a declarative sentence where the truth value of that sentence is depending on a variable involved in a sentence. Okay, but remember that for predicates, the domain is necessary. Means where the variables are defined, that is also given to you. Okay, so the predicate is a declarative sentence whose true or false value depend on a one or more variables which are involving in that sentence. Okay, if we have the one variable, then it is called one variable predicate, and it is denoted by p of x. If we have the two variables, then it is called two variable predicate. It is denoted by p of x comma y. Then so on. If we have the three variable, it is called three variable predicates, and it is denoted by p of x comma y comma z. Okay. So the value of predicates, mostly predicates we denote by this way. Okay. Here this x belongs to z means the domain is always given in a predicate. Okay. Where z is called domain of this predicate. Like we have the example here. For this example, here we have the domain is given. The mostly domain is denoted by capital D. Okay. The domain is given here. Domain equal to we have Z, the integers. Okay. So now here the x is variable, it is single variable, so the predicates is denoted by p of x. Okay. Now when the if we take x is of such a value which is divisible by 7, then px is true. If it is x has not value that divisible by 7, then px is false. Like if we take x equal to 5, then 5 is not divisible by 7. We say that p of 5 is false. But if we take x equal to 14, then 14 is divisible by 7. We say that p of 14 is true. If we take x equal to 7, then 7 is also divisible by 7. So we say that p of 7 is true. Okay. So here the true or false value of p of x, it is depending on a value of x. If x is divisible by the 7, then px is a true. If it is not divisible by 7, then px is false. Okay. Here we have taken two values, that first we take 14. So 14 is divisible by 7. So p of 14 is true. Then we take the 5. So 5 is not divisible by 7. So p of 5 is not true. That is, p of 5 is false. Okay. Here we have same way for this. In this 2, we have again domain is a d equal to z. So here domain is Z. So now here see again that we have P of X is given that X is a prime number. So when we take the X is a prime number, the Px is true. If we take X is a non-prime number, then Px is a false. Okay. So here, if we take X equal to 3, then P of 3 is true. If we take X equal to 14, then P of 14 is false because 14 is not prime number. Similar way in a third, here if we take the pair 1 comma minus 1, then if we put the value of X is a 1, Y equal to minus 1, then here we have 2 into 1, 2 plus 1, sorry, minus 1, 2 minus 1, we get 1 here, and minus 1 square we have 1. So 1 is divisible by 1. So P of 1 comma minus 1 is true. If we can take 2 comma 3, then 2 into 3 we have 6. 6 plus 3 we got, 2 into 2 we got 4. 4 plus 3 we have 7 here. And 3 square is a 9. So 7 does not divisible by 9. So that means P of 2 comma 3 is false. Now write in chat box other two pair for which the statement is true, and for the first pair statement is true, and for second pair statement is false. Write two pair in a chat box. For first pair P x comma y is true, and the second pair for second pair P x comma y is false. Write in chat box. Write in chat box. जैसे मैंने यहाँ पे 1 कॉमा माइनस 1 दिया है और 2 कॉमा 3 दी है, उसी तरह आपको ये दो पेयर फाइंड करनी है. एक के लिए ट्रू होना चाहिए, एक के लिए फॉल्स होना चाहिए. क्या हुआ? क्यों मैसेज नहीं आ रहा है चैट बॉक्स में एक भी? ये बेची है ना? फोर कॉमा सिक्स, तो जो था 8 प्लस 6 14, 6 स्क्वायर. अच्छा, for 4 comma 6 it is a false. 1 comma 2, 1 into 2, 2, 2 plus 2 4, and 2 square is 4. 4 is divisible by 4. Yes, right, Jenny. So for 1 comma 2 the statement is the predicate is true, and for 4 comma 6 the predicate is false. Okay. Now the next we have here universal quantifier. We have the two quantifiers in this one. The one is a universal quantifier and second is a existential quantifier. So universal quantifier means if we have the predicates Px is given and domain D is given, then universal quantifier, it is a statement that Px for all x belongs to D. The universal quantifier is a statement that Px for all x belongs to D. It is denoted by the universal quantifier. It is denoted by all x Px. This is a notation for universal quantifier, that all x Px. Now the truth value of universal quantifier, that all x Px, it is a true if Px is true for all x in a domain, and it is a false if all x Px is, it is a false if Px is false for at least one value of x in a domain. In domain, so if we have the Px is false for any one value, then the all x Px is false. Like here given that suppose here we take P of x equal to is a x plus 3, x plus 3 equal to 0, and we take domain D equal to capital N. Then what happens? What is the value of Px? If it, x is belongs to capital N, that is the x is a natural number. Okay, the x is natural number, so that means x is starting from 1 to infinity. Okay, so for x equal to 1, the statement is false. Okay, for any value, just here, first we take the statement is true for all. So we change it. We take your statement x is greater than 0. Okay. Now here we have domain is a natural number set. So if we take x equal to 1, the Px is true. If we take x equal to 2, Px is true. Okay. So for any x in a domain, Px is always true. Okay. So here for all x belongs to D, Px is true. So therefore, here we have all x Px is true. Okay. All x Px is true because Px is true for all x belongs to D. Now if we take here, now if we take P of x is equal to x is greater than 1. and domain is a n. Then now here for x equal to 2, px is true. For x equal to 3, px is true. For x equal to 4, px is true. So for all x belongs to D, if x is greater than or equal to 2, px is true. Only p of 1, if we take here p of 1, here we take p of 1, then it will be a 1 greater than 1. This is false. So here p of 1 is false. Therefore, we got a 1 value in a D for which px is false. So for this statement, all x px is false. Okay. So the value of all x px here, it is true if px is true for all x belongs to D. If for any one x belongs to D, px is false, then all x px is false. Okay. This is a value of universal quantifier. Now, the value for which we have px is false, that tests are called counterexample for universal quantifier. Okay. For which x the px is a false, that x is called counterexample for universal quantifier. And if we have the domain is of phi, so there is no element belongs to D, so there is no counterexample like this. So that means by default universal quantifier is a true. Okay, if domain is a phi. Now we check for this example to find the value of all x px. So say in our first one we have the just in first we have D equal to R. So where we want to find the value of all x px, you have to check the counter example. Counter example means you have to find the value of x such that px becomes false. If we got the value of x such that the px is false, then all x px is false. If we can't find that value, we can find the value of x such that the px is false, then that means there is no counter example for all x px. So that means all x px is true. Okay, so this way we can find the value of all x px. For the domain is a R here, so we take the value here, x is equal to 3, then x square is a 9, so x square is less than 10. Okay, so that means p of 3 is false. So therefore, all x px is false. Okay. So all x px is false. Now similarly, for the second one, here for second, here the domain is given of 4 points, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this, from this 4 points, 1, 2, and 3, these 3 are the counter examples, because if we take x equal to 1, it has a square 1 less than 10. For 2, x square is 4 less than 10. For 3, x square is a 9 less than 10. So these 3 are counter examples. So similarly, here also we got all x, 3x is false. Okay. Now for the third one, here we have the 11. If we take x equal to 11, then x square is a 121. It is a greater than 10. So for the remaining x are greater than 11. So the square is also greater than 121, that is greater than 10. So here for all x, here for all x belongs to 11 to 20, x square is greater than 10. So therefore, P of x is true for all x. So there is no counter example. So therefore, all x px is true. Okay, because there is no counter example. There is no x for which the px is false. So that means all x px is true. Okay. This is the second example. Now here we have two methods to solve this example. The one is here we take the 1 by 1 value. Okay, first here we take the one even number, that x equal to 2. For x equal to 2, the 2 is an even number, so this statement is true. Then here 2 into 2, 4, 4 plus 1, 5. So 5 is always odd number. This is also true. So when in a conditional statement that both statements are true, then conditional statement is true. So that means Px is true here. If we take x is equal to odd number sum, okay, here if we take x is equal to 3, then the first statement here, 3 is an even number. This is false. Okay, the first statement is false. So in a conditional statement, if first statement is true or false, then conditional statement is true. It is true again. So for all x belongs to n, the px is true. So all x px is true. This is a one method. The second method, we write here, we write two statements. One is a p. So p is a x is an even number. Okay, and the q we write the Q. Q is 2x plus 1 is always an odd number. Okay, so this two we have P and Q. Now what about the P of X? The P of X is a P implies Q. Okay, so now we make the table here. So we make the table here P, Q, and then P of X, that is a P implies Q. Now for X is a even number, X is even. Now here in a X it belongs to N for natural number. So for natural number we have two possibilities. One is a even number and odd number. So here we write, we check for even number. So for even, the P is a true. What about Q? So in a Q, 2 times of the even number is a even. Even plus 1, we have got odd number. Okay. So Q is also true. So that means if we have the both are true, then the conditional statement is true. Then we take the odd numbers. So for odd numbers, the P is a false. For odd number, odd into 2, we get even. Even plus 1, again odd. So this is a true. Now P implies Q. If P is false, then P implies Q is a true. So here we get true. So that means the Px is true for all x. So therefore, all x Px is true. Okay. So any one of method you can prove that all x Px is true. Now the second we have the existential quantifier. So in existential quantifier, the statement of existential quantifier is there exists x belongs to D such that Px. The statement of existential quantifier is there exists x belongs to D such that Px. Now here in existential quantifier, it is denoted by this way, and it is read as there exists x Px. The universal quantifier is read as all x Px. The existential quantifier is read as there exists x Px. Now this is a opposite to universal quantifier. Here there exists x Px. It is a true if Px is true for one value of x belongs to D, and it is false if Px is false for all x belongs to D. So we have taken the first example that P of x equal to x plus 3. Here D is a x belongs to n. Then for any value of x, the for all value of x means for all value of x, Px is false. Okay. Sorry, x plus 3 equal to 0, not only x plus 3 here, equal to 0. Yes. So for all value of x, the Px is false. So here there exists xpx, there exists xpx is false because Px is false for all x belongs to D. But if we change here for this Px, if we take domain is a z, the integer set. Then for x equal to minus 3, for x equal to minus 3, we have P of minus 3 is true. So we got the one value for which Px is true. So that means there exists xpx is true. Okay. In universal quantifier, if we have the Px is true for all x, then all x Px is true. In existential quantifier, if Px is true for all at least one x belongs to D, then there exists xpx is true. All x Px is false if Px is false for at least one x belongs to D. Here, there exists xpx is false if Px is false for all x belongs to D. Okay. Now in a universal quantifier where the x is Px is false, that x is called counterexample for all x Px. Here, if Px is true, then x is called witness of the there exists xpx. Okay, there exists that x is called witness of there exists xpx. In universal quantifier, if domain is phi, then the all x Px is true by default. Here, if domain is phi, then there exists xpx is false by default. Okay. Now, similar way, we have this example. So here, we take the R, then in R we have x equal to 4. If we take the x equal to 4, then 4 square is a 16, it is greater than 10. So we got the one witness. So that means P4 is a true, so there exists xpx is true. If we take the D equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 2, 3, 4, then here again we have x equal to 4 for which Px is true. So that means there exists xpx is true. In the interval 1, 2, 3, we take the x equal to 1, its square is a 1, it is less than 10. For 3, square is a 9, so less than 10. So for all value of x, here we have the x square is a less than 10. So Px is false for all x belongs to D. Therefore, there exists xpx is false. Okay. So this way we can find the value of there exists xpx. Now here for this, see here For this example, here, if you take the x equal to 5, then 5 is less than 5 square. 6 is also less than 6 square. 9 is also less than 9 square. Minus 9 is also less than minus 9 square. Okay. But x equal to 0, if we take x equal to 0, then 0 square is 0. So we cannot say that 0 is less than 0. This 0 is equal to 0. So here P of 0, that is 0 equal to, we have 0 square. Okay. So that means P of 0 is a true. So P of 0 is true. Therefore, we got one witness. So therefore, there exists xpx is true. Okay. So remember this. When we find the value of all xpx, we find the value of x for which px is false. When we want to find the value of there exists x px, we find the x for which px is true. Okay. In all x px, we find the counter example. In there exists x px, we find the witnesses. Okay. Here universal quantification and generalization is given. That we have the universal quantification is for if we have all x px is true, then p of a true for any arbitrary element a belongs to D. This statement is called universal quantification. And universal generalization is if we have px is a true when we replace x by any arbitrary element a from domain D, then the universal quantifier, that is all x px, is true. This is called generalization. Okay. This is two statements: universal quantification and universal generalization. Then we have De Morgan's law, but we take this one after one example. Now we have this example, this one. Okay. Now we take some example for there exists x px and all x px. So you have to answer in a chat box. Okay. Here we have domain D equal to, we take R, the real number set. You have to write the value of all x px and there exists x px. Okay. The first one is a p of x. The first p of x is a x cube plus 1. X cube plus 1 equal to 0. Now what is the value of all x px and there exists x px? Write the value of all x px and there exists x px in chat box. The value means true or false. Okay? Write the all x px is true or false. There exists x px is true or false in chat box. It is minus 1, p of minus 1 is true. But we are not talking that I want the value of all x px and there exists x px. When you find the all x px, you have to find the counter example, and for there exists x px, you require the witnesses. So I am giving you your answer for the first one. Okay, that here to solve this one, you have to write in this way. You have to answer this example like that x equal to 1, then x cube plus 1, it is 1 cube is 1 plus 1, so it is 2. It is not equal to 0, so therefore p of 1 is false. Now we got the one value for which px is a false. Therefore, all x px is false. Then you have to write let x equal to minus 1. So x cube plus 1 is equal to minus 1 cube plus 1, that is minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0. So therefore p of minus 1 is true. We got the one value of x for which the px is a true. Okay, so therefore there exists x px is true. Okay, you can answer the full example this way, and you have to write in a chat box this true value, that this is a true and this is sorry, not true, yes, this is false and this is true. So you have to write this in chat box f and p. Okay, f is for all x px and p for there exists x px. Okay, I think you all understand. Okay,
સર
yes,
તમારો અવાજ નથી આવતો સરખો.
શું થાય?
તમે શું
ક્યારનો
બોલો છો
સર?
સમજાતું નથી ક્યારનું એવું થાય સર અડધી કલાક જેવું થઈ ગયું
એમ તો કોઈનો મેસેજ તો આવ્યો નહીં, પહેલા ના બોલો.
અમને એમ કે અમારે નેટવર્ક ઇશ્યુ હશે એટલે અમે 2-3 વાર લેફ્ટ થઈને જોયું પણ નથી થતું સર
હા. હવે આવે છે સરખો? હેલો.
અત્યારે સર આવે છે, વચ્ચે ક્યારેક ક્યારેક ધીમો પડ
અચ્છા.
વચ્ચે બહુ સર સ્પીડમાં થઈ જતો તો એવું થતું હતું.
વચ્ચે નેટવર્કનો કદાચ પ્રોબ્લેમ થતો હોય એના લીધે થયો. એવું હોય ને તો વચ્ચે મને મેસેજ કરજો. હા, હું એ વસ્તુ રિપીટ કરી દઉં. બીજું કાંઈ. એટલે આ ખ્યાલ આવી ગયો હવે કે ફરીથી એક્સપ્લેન કરું?
લાસ્ટ ટ્રુ ફોલ્સ વાળું એક
આમાં કોઈ જવાબ? Here the px is given x cube plus 1 equal to 0. So when you want to find the value of all x px and there exists x px, for all x px, you have to find the value of x for which the px is false. And for there exists x px, you have to find the value of x for which the px is a true. Okay, so first I take the x equal to 1. So for x equal to 1, the x cube plus 1, it is a, we have 2, it is not equal to 0. Okay, this is not equal to 0. So that means p of 1 is a false. Okay, so we got the one value of x for which px is false. This x is called counter example for all x px. If you got the counter example, then all x px is false. Okay, so this is false, so I am writing here f. Okay, false we denote by f. So this value is a f. Okay, then we take x equal to -1. If we take x equal to -1, we have x cube plus 1 is a 0. So here px is true. So px is true. So that means p of p of -1 is true. So we got a one witness. Witness means we got a one x for which px is true. So that means if we got a witness, then there exists x px is true. There exists x px is true. So that's why here I am writing t. Okay, we have to write this two value in a chat box. F and t means here what is the value of all x px and there exists of x px. Okay, now I am giving the another example. Now we have the second. P of x is equal to minus x whole square equal to x square. Now find out the value of all x px and there exists x px for this statement. The domain is same, R, real number set. Yes. Here, if we take the all x, okay, for the all x, here minus x square is always x square, okay. The minus sign is removed from all in a all x for the all real number. So here for all x belongs to R, the statement is true. So for all x, the statement is true. So all x px is a true. And for all x px is true. So we got the witnesses, lots of witnesses. So that means this is also true. Okay. Third one, p of x is greater than or equal to x square. Not equal to, just greater than. X is greater than x square. Check what is the value of all x px, and there exists x px. लगता है रियल नंबर बहुत टाइम से चला नहीं, रीजन नहीं हुआ. Okay, what is the square of 0.5? What is the square of 0.5? 0.25. So this is a x square and this one is a x. Sorry, x square is a 0.25 and x is a 0.5. Which one is greater, 0.25 or 0.5? I think 0.5 is greater. So for this one, we have x is greater than x square. So for 0.5, this px is true. We got the witness. That means all x px is true. And here, if you take the x equal to any other value, means greater than 1, then it is false. Okay, for 1 also it is false. For 1, we got the 1 square is a 1, so 1 is not greater than 1, 1 equal to 1. So it is false. Okay, if you take x is equal to 2 here, then also the 2 is not greater than 2 square. That is, x square is a 4. So 2 is not greater than 4. So p of 2 is a false. So that means you got the counter examples. So here you have false. Okay. So we have the solution is all x px is false, and there exists x px is true. Okay. Now we take the more examples after the one theorem, De Morgan's law. Then we take the more examples. Okay. So the next we have the De Morgan's law for a quantifier. So De Morgan's law for quantifier, it is given by the first statement is the negation of all x px, it is equivalent to there exists x negation of px. There exists x negation of px. And the second statement is negation of there exists x px, it is equivalent to all x negation of px. Okay, this is called De Morgan's law for quantifier. So now to prove this De Morgan's law, here we cannot use the truth table here. Okay, so we use here that first we take the left side is a true, and we prove that the right side it is also true. Then we take the left side is false, then right side is also false. So this way we prove that the both are equivalent. So here so to prove this one, the first we prove the negation of all x px, it is equivalent to there exists x negation of px. Okay. So first we take here negation of all x px is true. Okay. We take here all x px is true. If we have all x px is true, that implies the negation of all x px is true. So what about the all x px? We know in a negation statement, if p is a true, then negation p is a false. So if negation p is a true, then p is a false. So here negation all x px is true. That means all x px is false. Now all x px is false, so that implies we have p of x is false for at least one x belongs to D. Okay. All x px is false. That means the px is false for at least one x belongs to D. So px is false for at least one x belongs to D. That means the negation of px is true for at least one x belongs to D. Okay. And what about this? If we have the negation of Px is true for at least one x belongs to D, then what is a existential quantifier? We have the negation Px is a true for at least one x belongs to D, then what about the existential quantifier? It is true or false? If we have the negation of Px is true for at least one x belongs to D, then what about the existential quantifier? In existential quantifier, we have it is a true if Px is true for at least one x belongs to D. That means we got at least one witness, then there exists quantifier. Existential quantifier is true. So here we have true that the negation of Px is true for at least one x belongs to D. So that implies there exists x negation of Px is true. We take the left hand side is true and we prove that right hand side is true. Now we take the left hand side is false. We take here all negation of all x Px is false. Now we prove that there exists x negation of Px is false. Okay. So to prove this, here we have this implies here negation all x Px is false. So all x Px is true. Okay, negation of P is false. Then the all x means P is a true. So here we have this is a true. Now all x Px is true. That means P of x is true for all x belongs to D. So here P of x is true for all x belongs to D. So that implies negation of P of x is false for all x belongs to D. Okay. So when we have the Px is false for all x belongs to D, then there exists x Px is false. So in place of Px, here we have negation of Px is a false for all x belongs to D. So that means we have there exists x negation of Px is false. We take the left hand side is a false. We prove that right hand side is also false. So in a both case, we got the same value of all x Px and there exists x negation of Px. So both are equivalent. So therefore, negation of all x Px equivalent to there exists x negation of Px. Okay. Just take the screenshot of this theorem. It is not in a PPT. I share with PDF. Yes, so this way we can prove the De Morgan's law for a quantifier. Now similarly, you have to prove for the second one. The second one is all have taken the screenshot.
Yes.
Okay. Now the second one is there exists xpx equivalent to all x negation of px. So here also you have to take the same method. First we suppose that negation of all x, there exists xpx is true. Okay, so that implies we got there exists xpx is false. Now this is false only if px is false for all x belongs to D. So that implies we have negation of P of x is true for all x belongs to D. Now, if negation of Px is true for all x, so the universal quantifier all x negation of Px is true. Okay. Similar way, if we take the there exists x Px is false, that implies we have there exists x Px is true. Here we use the only negation statement to prove this theorem. We are not using anything else. We use the just negation statement and definition of all x Px and there exists x Px. Okay? No other logic here we apply. So that implies now we use the definition of all x there exists x Px. It is true if Px is true for at least one x belongs to D. So this implies negation of Px is false for at least one x belongs to D. So that implies we got the one counter example. So all x negation of Px is false. Okay. So in our first step, see, here we use the negation statement. This is false, so this is true. Then we use the definition of there exists x Px. There exists x Px is true only if we have a Px is true for at least one x belongs to D. Now Px is true for at least one x belongs to D. So we use the again negation statement that the negation of Px, it is false for at least one x belongs to D. Now again we use the definition of all x Px, that all x Px is a false if there exists a counter example, that means Px is a false for at least one x belongs to D. So here we have the negation of Px is false for at least one x belongs to D. So all x negation of Px is false. Okay. In the proving this theorem, we use the negation statement and definition means values of the all x Px and there exists x Px. Okay. So this way we can prove the second part also. Yes. Now take the screenshot again for this second part. Now we take the again examples which are where you have to find the all four values. So all have taken the screenshot.
Yes.
Okay. So the next here the given that just a minute.